Undoubtedly, the PlayStation 2 will go down in history as one of the best consoles of its era, not only because of its outstanding controls and design, but because of its near impeccable library of games. I've played my fair share of PS2 games over the years, and I thought it'd be fun to dust off the old machine and show you my top 5 PlayStation 2 games. This list will be made up of games I've played on the PS2 that are either exclusive to the console or simply better to play on it compared to other systems. So let's put in the first disc and get started.
Transformers.
The 2004 Transformers game was surely more than meets the eye. It was based off the television show Armada, where both Decepticons and Autobots are hunting down the long-lost Minicons. In this third-person action game, you get to play one of 3 Autobots on 6 semi-open world levels. It was also the first Transformers game to have efficient controls, especially when switching back and forth from vehicle to robot mode. While playing, you'll find Minicons that can be used for weapons, shields, and even for flight. You can equip 4 at a time, so it can be quite fun to play around and see what set of Minicons fits you best. Throughout the game, you'll fight famous characters such as Starscream, Megatron, and even Unicron himself. One little thing I like about the game is its physics. It's hilarious when the player gets knocked over or falls down a mountainside. If you're a Transformers fan and you haven't played this game, I highly recommend buying it, no matter the cost. Though Dark Legacy starred in the arcade, its PlayStation counterpart is 100 times more spectacular. It's a colorful, over-the-head fantasy game where you play as a range of characters such as the Dwarf, Medusa, Archer Queen, and my personal favorite, the Jester. The game is filled with hundreds of unique levels and bosses, and though it's still an arcade game, it incorporates RPG elements such as leveling up and gathering items. The game at times can get repetitive, but it still keeps your attention by throwing random creatures and treasures around every corner. Even compared to the newest Gauntlet games, I find Dark Legacy to be the most individual and fun of the whole franchise. In my opinion, TimeSplitters is sadly the most underrated FPS series of all time. It uses features and mechanics that no other FPS shooter has yet to scratch. The game's story has a unique arcade feel while still being filled with story-driven elements. Each level is completely different from the last thanks to the time-traveling aspect. You're never quite sure what's going to happen next. You could be fighting mutants in the Arctic, then next fighting large rock monsters in the jungle. And unlike any other FPS game, the single player isn't limited to the story mode. There's both challenges and arcade levels that use bronze, silver, and gold rating systems to determine your reward. The unlockables include over 150 playable characters, levels, and more. The arcade levels vary from running out the clock from green fire monsters, free-for-alls with rocket launchers, to even being a vampire. But besides playing the arcade or free mode with bots, you can make your own maps for both the multiplayer and even the story mode. The overall abundance of features this game has to offer can leave a person satisfied for years. War of the Monsters is yet another PS2 game that's highly underrated. When scientists find the secret to stop an alien invasion, the destroyed spacecrafts cause the Earth's mightiest monsters to rise. As you probably expected, you get to play as blatant but awesome copies of classic monsters. Togura, for example, is obviously supposed to be Godzilla, Kongar is basically King Kong, and so on. In a weird way, this game feels like Rampage or Primal Rage, but on crack and steroids. The fighting's simple but very satisfying. Certain combos can send a monster flying or completely cripple them. As for the maps, they have an interactive and destructible environment. On the Tokyo map, throwing an object at this UFO will cause a tsunami. When playing the story, you'll run into some of the coolest boss monsters ever conceived. This is a game that any kaiju fan like myself should definitely play. It deserves a sequel, and if we don't get one, Future Perfect is one of, if not the best, FPS game I've ever played. It does everything that made TimeSplitters 2 good and times that by infinity. More arcade levels like Monkey Disco and Cat Racing, more challenges, a better story, and an even more advanced map maker. This game is also perfect for 4-player co-op. It's become a tradition for any of my friends' parties to bring the game and play a mode we invented called Russian Bear Disco. One team is Russians, the other bears, no weapons, on the disco level. That's one of the best things about TimeSplitters, you can play whatever you can imagine. Want a robot invasion, zombie apocalypse, Planet of the Apes? You can do literally anything you can think of. It's only a shame that TimeSplitters 4 was cancelled. When the games company Free Radical went bankrupt, they sold the franchise to Crytek. Though Crytek owns the rights, apparently they don't have any plans on making a new game. But there is a small fan community trying to make their own game called TimeSplitters Rewind. We can only hope it becomes a reality. So that's it for my top 5 list. If you'd like to suggest a top 5 or top 10, please leave a comment below. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.